Chapter 3. The moment Alexandra stepped out of the aviation security office, he moved on autopilot. He barely remembered the drive home, only the blur of traffic, the sting in his eyes, the way his fingers felt numb against the steering wheel. Everything inside him was tearing apart, like someone had struck a tuning fork against his ribs. Kazakhstan. Layla had taken Max to Kazakhstan. He parked crookedly in his driveway and stumbled inside. The house felt wrong, too still, too hollow, a place missing a heartbeat. He didn't bother turning on the lights. He walked straight to his laptop, opened every travel site he knew and clicked without reading. He just wanted to book the earliest flight to Almaty. Any route, any airline, no matter the cost. The screen loaded slowly as though mocking him. A departure from San Francisco International Airport, 11:45 p.m. The soonest he could possibly get there, he booked it without any second thought. Confirmed. Only then did he look up and register the silence around him. An absence so loud it became a presence. He walked down the hallway towards Max's room, and for the first time since morning his legs nearly gave out. The door was half open. Max's blue night light glowed softly in the corner, a faint, fading light he always kept on. Alexandra stepped inside as if preparing himself for the blow. The bed was unmade, the blanket tucked in the way Max liked. His favorite plush dinosaur sat in the corner, tilted slightly as if waiting. Alexandra reached out and touched it gently, the fabric worn from years of little hands gripping it during movies, flights and nightmares. "Max," his voice cracked. "I'm sorry." He sat on the edge of the bed, burying his hands in his hair. The weight of everything finally pushed down on him. The hours lost while he was unconscious, the last calm conversation they had shared, the drone fight. He swallowed hard and placed a hand on the pillow where Max's head had rested. It still carried a warmth he could feel, or maybe it was just his imagination trying to give him something to hold on to. "I'll bring you home," he whispered. "I promise." "I'm coming for you." He stood slowly, walking around the room. Every little object made him feel uneasy, growing restlessness in his chest. The half-finished drawing on the desk, the Lego spaceship they had almost completed last weekend, the sneakers by the door. With their laces missing because Max was still practicing like a ninja, he forced himself to leave the room before he broke apart completely. He grabbed a suitcase from the hallway closet and dragged it into his bedroom. He didn't pack carefully, he just shoved clothes inside without folding them. 2 shirts, then 5 more, a jacket, then another. Socks, his toiletries, shoes, he wasn't thinking about what he needed to wear. Only that he had to get there as soon as possible. His hand shook as he zipped the bag. "What were you thinking, Layla?" he murmured to himself as he paced. "Why would you do this? You've never taken him without telling me, never acted like this." He stopped by the living room window and stared out, though he wasn't really seeing anything. His mind replayed the last few weeks. The late-night messages from Layla asking how Max had slept, if he'd been asking about her, if he had seemed overly attached to Alexandra. Questions she used to ask occasionally, but recently they had become more frequent, almost nervous. There was the morning she'd visited, and lingered a little too long outside the door after saying goodbye. The time she asked what days Lucy came over, and the way she had suddenly wanted to know whether Max had developed new routines, like what time he usually falls asleep now. It was simple, but he would have never guessed. He took a deep breath, wiped his face, and went to the kitchen. He wrote a quick text to Lucy, thanking her, apologizing for the chaos, promising to update her soon. Then he grabbed his passport, his charger, and other stuff to put in his backpack. He closed his suitcase, grabbed his keys and paused only once more at Max's door. He didn't go in this time, he just rested his hand on the doorframe. "I'm on my way," he whispered. Then he walked out of the house, locked the door behind him and headed towards the airport, towards whatever waited for him on the other side of the world. Almaty greeted Alexandra with a dusk-colored sky and the distant outline of the Trans-Ili Alatau Mountains, their snowy peaks barely visible through the thin veil of evening haze. The moment he stepped out of the airport, a cold bite of air hit his face, sharper and drier than the Californian breeze he was used to. He tightened his coat around him, dragging his luggage toward the Yandex Go line. The city felt unfamiliar and vast, the signs written in Cyrillic and Kazakh making him acutely aware of every barrier between himself and Max. By the time he reached the hotel, a quiet, modest place near Dostik Plaza, exhaustion had begun to settle heavily into his bones. Still, he checked in as quickly as possible, nodding at the receptionist's carefully enunciated English. His room was warm, functional, and too quiet. He dropped his suitcase on the floor, splashed cold water on his face, and sat on the edge of the bed, pulling out his phone. His mind already raced ahead. He needed a plan, a direction, someone who could help him navigate a legal system he didn't understand. Before he could begin, his phone buzzed. Arian. For a second, Alexandra considered ignoring it, but he picked up. "Alex, are you okay?" Arian sounded concerned, but also cautious. "No," Alexandra admitted. "I'm not. I'm in Kazakhstan." There was a pause. "Kazakhstan, why would you?" "Layla took Max," Alexandra said. "Flew him out without telling me." Arian exhaled sharply. "Alex, I'm so sorry. Do you need anything? Do you want me to?" "Listen." Alexandra leaned forward, pressing a hand over his eyes. "I can't talk about work right now, not any details, nothing." "Of course," Arian said quickly. "I just thought maybe." "No," Alexandra repeated quietly. "Just keep running diagnostics and keep it quiet. Don't talk about it in the open. Don't mention it to anyone in the office." Arian hesitated. "Did something happen?" "Maybe," Alexandra said, "or maybe I'm paranoid, but don't draw attention. I'll explain when I'm back." The tension in Arian's voice rose a little. "All right, I'll keep everything internal." "Thank you," Alexandra said. "I'll call when I can." He hung up and took a few slow breaths, trying to refocus himself. The world of algorithms, network models, encrypted architecture, all of it had to disappear from his priority list. For now, there was only Max. He pulled his laptop from his bag, connected to the hotel Wi-Fi, and began searching for a lawyer. A flood of names appeared, but one caught his eye, a firm known for handling disputes involving foreigners, mentioned on expat forums. He clicked through reviews, confirming what he needed. They were familiar with situations like his. He dialed the number. A receptionist answered in polite, careful English. After explaining briefly, he secured an appointment for the next morning at 9:30. As he hung up, Alexandra closed his eyes. His body was drained and yet somehow still in motion. He stood, unpacked the bare essentials, and walked to the window. The city lights were faintly glinting beneath him, distant, unreachable, like the life he'd left behind. Just one step at a time, he reminded himself. He turned off the lights, lay down on the stiff hotel bed, and hoped sleep would come. Morning in Almaty was grey and muted, as if the sky hadn't quite decided to wake up. Alexandra barely felt the difference. He hadn't slept, just lay in bed staring at the ceiling, waiting for time to pass. At 7:00 a.m., he gave up trying, showered, dressed, and forced himself downstairs for a cup of tea he barely tasted. By 8:30, he was in a Yandex taxi heading towards the lawyer's office, watching unfamiliar streets blur past. Almaty was beautiful, wide avenues lined with trees, distant mountains peeking between buildings, but all its charm felt irrelevant, swallowed by the knot twisting in his stomach. The law firm was located inside a modest beige stone building near the city centre. The sign outside was in Cyrillic, with a small English translation underneath. He hesitated only once before pushing open the heavy glass door. Inside, the office was quiet, clean, and professional. The receptionist recognized his name immediately. "Mr. Varen, the lawyer will see you now. Please follow me." He was led into a small meeting room with a round wooden table, 2 chairs, and a wide window overlooking the street. After a moment, the lawyer entered, a tall, middle-aged man with sharp features and a composed demeanor. He extended his hand. "Mr. Varen, I'm Abzal Kasimjanov. Please sit." Alexandra shook his hand and lowered himself into the chair. His palms were sweaty, he felt nauseous. "Thank you for seeing me," he began. "I know this is sudden." "Of course," Abzal replied, adjusting across from him. His English was clear, lightly accented but easy to follow. The receptionist told me you have an urgent custody concern. Please start from the beginning. Alexandra took a breath. My ex-partner, Layla, she took our son without telling me. She came into my home early in the morning and left with him while I was asleep. Abzal nodded, listening intently. We have joint custody, Alexandra continued. She can take him on weekends, but she never does without informing me, and certainly not out of the country. You are certain she crossed the border with him? Yes, Alexandra pulled out the folded sheet Ryan had given him. This is the flight information. She flew to Almaty yesterday morning. Abzal read the paper carefully, eyes narrowing slightly in concentration. And she did not inform you beforehand? Not a word, she blocked my calls. Her family won't answer me either. I went to her parents' house before coming here, it was locked. Abzal leaned back in his chair. I see. And the authorities in your home country? They said it's a domestic issue, Alexandra said bitterly, that because she's the mother it doesn't count as abduction. They told me to handle it through family court, which is useless when she's on another continent. Abzal nodded again, his expression patient and professional. Unfortunately, that is common. Many countries will not file criminal charges unless there is evident harm or an existing travel restriction. Alexandra rubbed his palms against his thighs. So what does that mean for me here? What can I do? Abzal thought about it a little and put his hands on the table. Legally, things are complicated. Kazakhstan does not easily interfere in matters involving local families. If your ex-partner has extended relatives here, that strengthens her position. But she took him illegally, Alexandra insisted quietly. We have shared custody. She can't just disappear with him. That is correct, Abzal said, but the issue is not whether her actions were ethical, it is how they are interpreted under local law. Alexandra frowned. Explain. Abzal spoke calmly, as if he had delivered this speech many times before. In Kazakhstan, the mother is almost always considered the primary caregiver. If she arrives with the child and claims she is providing a stable environment, especially with the support of local family, the court is unlikely to intervene quickly. They will see a foreign father entering the country with a complaint, and they will proceed cautiously. That's Alexandra swallowed. That sounds like I have no chance. I did not say that. Abzal's tone softened slightly. But your position is difficult. You are not a resident, you do not speak the language. You have no local presence or family ties. The court system here prefers to protect the country's image and its citizens. Foreigners often feel they are disadvantaged. Alexandra leaned forward. So what do? I can't go back home without him, and I won't. Abzal exhaled slowly. The first step is to open an official case. A petition for custody enforcement, but be aware this process can be slow. It takes weeks, sometimes months. Months, Alexandra's voice cracked. I can't wait months. I understand. Abzal folded his hands again. Which is why I will be honest with you, the legal route alone may not bring him back quickly. Your best chance is to attempt communication. You mean talk to Layla, to her and to her family, Abzal said. Find out why she took him. See if there is any possibility of reaching an agreement outside of court. Alexandra shook his head. I don't know where they live, I've never been here. I don't even know which part of the city they're in. That information can be obtained, Abzal said. Once we file the petition, the authorities will request her local address. We can also make an analysis and perform all searches possible. It will take some time, but it is not impossible. There was silence between them for a moment. Alexandra stared at the table, blinking rapidly. She wouldn't do this for no reason. She must be afraid of something or someone. This isn't like her. Abzal observed him quietly. Has she shown unusual behavior recently? Yes, she's been off, asking strange questions, wanting to know small details, staying distant yet overly curious. He shook his head. I didn't think much of it, I shold. Abzal tapped a pen lightly against his notepad. Sometimes personal pressure, family influence or fear can push a person toward drastic choices. But until we speak with her, it is difficult to understand her motivation. Alexandra sighed. What do you recommend I do today? Rest, Abzal said plainly, and let me file the initial paperwork. It will not resolve things immediately, but it will create a legal footprint. After that, I will help you locate her. You must prepare for many obstacles, Mr. Varenne. I will not pretend otherwise. Alexandra nodded slowly, accepting the weight of the words even though they unsettled him. I appreciate your honesty, he murmured. Abzal stood. We will work through this together, but you must stay patient and focused and be ready for setbacks. Alexandra stood as well. I just want him home. Abzal met his eyes, his voice ordered. Then we will do everything possible to make that happen. Alexandra thanked him, shook his hand and stepped back out into the cold Almaty air. The mountains loomed in the distance, silent and unmovable, just like the system he was about to fight. But he tightened his coat, breathed deeply and walked forward. Whatever it took, he wasn't leaving Kazakhstan without his son. The hotel room felt a little less foreign the next morning, though Alexandra still woke with the same heavy ache in his chest. He sat by the desk, scrolling through old photos of Max for the 100th time now. Ones where he was laughing, ones where he was pretending to be a developer like his papa, ones where he was asleep on Alexandra's shoulder. He didn't hear the phone vibrate at first. When he did, he grabbed it instantly. It was Abzal. Mr. Varenne, I have begun preparing your petition. I will need several documents to file it properly. Alexandra straightened in his chair, swallowing the sudden rush of anxiety. Tell me what you need. I'll send everything right now. Mr. Varenne, he said, voice firm as ever, I want to move quickly on your case, but we must follow official procedure. The court will ask for verification of identity, parenthood and custody structure. Alexandra grabbed a pen. Just tell me, I'll get it together. First, Abzal began, a scanned copy of your passport, then Max's birth certificate. Any documents showing your paternity, the original, not just a photo if possible. I brought all of that, Alexandra said. I can send scans in the next few hours. Good, Abzal continued. I also need any written custody agreements between you and Ms. Layla. Court orders or reports where custody arrangements were discussed. Anything that can establish a pattern of communication and co-parenting. Alexandra rubbed his forehead. I have the custody papers at home. I can log into my cloud storage and find the digital copies. That will suffice at the moment, but eventually we will need originals with apostille and notarized translation. One more thing, Abzal said. If you have any evidence of irregular behavior from Ms. Layla, messages, unexplained gaps, anything suggesting premeditation, forward those as well. Even small details can become useful. Alexandra thought for a while. I'll compile those too. Good, Abzal said. Once I have everything, I will prepare an initial motion. It will not grant immediate custody, but it will give us standing to request her address and legal status in Kazakhstan. And then we proceed carefully, Abzal replied, step by step. After the call ended, Alexandra opened his laptop and began gathering everything he had. Birth certificate, scanned IDs, custody forms, screenshots of conversations, photos from weekends, school projects, birthdays. With each file he uploaded, the reality pressed deeper into him. This was him preparing for a fight.